Live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fox 12 Now. I just wanted to bring that up. That is our live shot there from Chinook Winds in Lincoln City, looking up there towards Rhodes End on that beach. It looks amazing out there right now, so I'm jealous of people who are out there, but hopefully you're out there watching this right now. Again, this is Fox 12 Now. We're live streaming here every weekday, and we bring you all kinds of different segments. We're live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. We're going to talk about those here in just a second. We're also on our website and our apps, so great places to find us and all the different segments and conversations that we get to have here. One conversation we were having today, though, is about social media, and this is a continuation of Nora Hart's coverage of tech addiction. You probably saw that in our other newscasts. A really great piece. I am in there, and because I was asked the question of how much am I on my phone, and it actually stunned me for a minute, realizing how long I am or how much I'm on my phone every single day, and it's probably hours, and that's probably not good, and there probably should be a better balance. We're talking about all those things right now because we have the author of 8 Steps to Freedom, Social Media Addiction, and that is Darius Roberts, who's joining us right now. And Darius, thank you for being here. Obviously, this is an important topic for everyone, and Nora covered so much of that in there, and you wrote into us and you're like, hey, I've got some more to add to this as well, and I appreciate you joining us. So just to start off, could you give us just a little bit of your background and maybe how you found yourself writing this book?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. My name is Darius Roberts, as you mentioned, and I found myself back in 2020 when we were dealing with COVID and a lot of us are inside and on our phones a lot more maybe than even normal. I saw that there was a climate of a lot of discontent, and that came out in social media, whether it was about masks or the current presidency, all those types of things. And I watched family members actually stop talking to each other because of what they were seeing each other post on social media. I also saw a lot of time being wasted and spent on social media. And being someone that has gone through alcohol addiction myself and kind of learned what it took to break free of that, I started putting pen to paper about what I thought could help folks kind of break free from social media addiction.
So you saw some of those same tendencies and some correlation there between some of the things that you had battled before and social media addiction.
Yes, sir. In particularly the obsession and the time. Briefly, when people go back and forth on social media, for example, maybe an argument or a disagreement, I saw that for myself consuming my day, consuming my time. So now I'm at work and I'm other places, overly concerned with responding to someone that I didn't even know that may live across the country that disagreed on a topic of mine. And now I'm consumed with how to better respond to him and have a sharper comment. That reminded me of how some other addictions have distracted a lot of folks and took them out of what they need to be doing throughout the day.
And I think we're all familiar with that too, of reading the comments section, and then if you get involved, then yeah, you may think that you're in the right responding to somebody, but at the same time, you can get consumed by that. And when we talk about that, as far as people being on social media this much, what do you think are the ways that someone could even identify that they may have an issue?
Well, that's one thing that I always encourage people to do is take a chart or a journal of your day. And kind of see where your time is being spent, and particularly first thing in the morning. I was guilty of getting up and checking social media and first thing. That was the first thing I wanted to do when I got up in the mornings. And then I started paying attention to how much more I was doing that throughout the day. So I would encourage everyone to kind of take a step back and just maybe journal, or at least take a mental note of how much time I'm actually spending on Facebook or social media, and paying attention to how many likes you're getting and all those types of things. How much of your day is being spent doing that?
So just writing it down, maybe when you log on, when you're checking it, and making that note, a physical note each time.
Correct.
So and that, yeah, now that I'm thinking about that, I would be doing that a lot, which would definitely bring it to light, especially if I'm physically writing it down. And looking at social media and how much of a part of our lives it is, what do you think that there is a right balance that someone can strike between using social media and also making sure that you're being mentally healthy and not getting consumed by some of the stuff that you see on there?
I'm glad you mentioned that because my book is not written by any means meant to say that people need to stay off of social media completely unless it's that serious of a problem. What I encourage is balance. And so, yes, I do think that you can find a balance. What I encourage people to do is take a break. In my book, we talk about a 21-day break. Journal what you're able to do during that break and the positive things that you see. And then as you get back on social media, I found after taking that break, it just didn't consume me as much because during that break, you're able to take some things that you weren't doing while you're on social media that are more productive. And I found for me, I want to get back to that those productive things quicker than I do social media now. And I do have social media accounts, but I do feel that I'm more balanced now.
And when you're striking that balance, what are some of the other things that you're doing to help keep yourself away from constantly being on social media?
Go outside, take a hike, enjoy nature. As you brought up at the beginning of this segment, there's beautiful places that we can visit out here in the Great Northwest. Go hiking, visit with family. The other thing that I underestimated was my thought process isn't consumed with Facebook anymore. So it's not just Facebook, any social media, but it's not just about being off of it. It's about not letting it consume your thinking, right? So now when I spend time with my kids, I'm there, I'm present, and it's not, I'm not consumed with wondering, my next post or when I'm going to take a picture of my food or when I'm going to take a picture of what we're doing. I'm actually present in the moment. So once you find that balance of being present, I think that's one of the other rewards I found getting off of social media.
Actually enjoying that moment as it's happening and not worrying about what you're going to post to show that you were there and not even maybe missing out on some experience, I would imagine too. So for you mentioned spending time with your family and with your kids and getting outdoors. When it comes to kids, obviously they're on social media a lot, or generally speaking they are. So what are some ways that you can help balance that and help them to figure out the right amount of time to be on there?
I always encourage people, let's bring it back to the 90s. I'm from the 1900s where we used to get outside and play and enjoy the neighborhoods. And so I like to take the kids outside and get them off of their phones and get them interacting with each other. Also explaining to them the importance of the weight that they put on social media, because for them, especially our young teenagers growing up, they put a lot of weight on maybe the amount of likes they get, comments, and that could be very detrimental to their self-esteem. So I always encourage parents and others, for me, what worked was letting my kids know that can have a place in your life, but not the place in your life, right? There's a whole real world out there, and be consumed with life, not necessarily just likes.
Did you find yourself learning a lot while you were writing this book and going through these processes?
Yes, the reason why I was able to write about it, I believe too, is because I felt these feelings. I went through these things. I struggled with caring way too much about what people thought of me. I struggled with comparisons. I struggled with the process of maybe checking out an ex's page, all those things that I soon learned that I wasn't alone. But that allowed me to say, okay, here's what helped me. And so if it helped me, maybe it will help someone else. And I found that to be the case.
Yeah, and and definitely everything you mentioned there, I feel like everybody's probably done that, or a lot of people who are watching right now have done that. And finding that balance is so important. So for everybody out there, and this may reiterate something that you already talked about, but for everybody who's watching right now, what is the first thing that they can do to help themselves transition from being addicted to social media?
The first thing is acknowledgement. Just acknowledge that, hey, this might be an issue that I need to take a look at. And then once it is, I do encourage folks just to try baby steps to get off of it. Maybe just take a day and just take a break, or take a day and say, hey, if I've made a journal that I'm normally on here 4 or 5 hours a day, maybe I break it down or I take it down to just an hour or two. And taking those little steps, those little baby steps, will help folks kind of gradually find the balance, I think, that will be mentally healthy for them.
So maybe don't go into the comment section and start commenting away on everything that you feel fired up about. That would probably be a good way to start off right there. Not that I do that. I'm more of a viewer, but yeah, it's definitely, I'm realizing some of the issues that I have with it as well. So for your book, I want to reiterate too for everybody, that this is something that they can get. And I've got a couple of images here just to showcase. So, and it says, with workbook. So this is something that people can also go through and actually, as they're reading it, help themselves through that.
Yes, and I brought a copy here. So at the end of the book, I go through the steps and have a little workbook here. And that way folks can kind of keep track. I found that to be the most important thing, is keeping track or keeping a journal of what they're doing so they can see their progress.
Do you think it's an important step to have that be a physical thing that people are writing down rather than even typing it into a program?
Absolutely. I believe that because people can physically see what they're writing and remember the feeling they got while they were writing and kind of look back on it. My book's also written to be an easy, short read. That way you can go back through the steps, because I know from my own experience, you can do something very well for 3 to 6 months and then fall back into old habits. So this is easy enough to pick back up and maybe go to a page that you remember was very helpful to you and reread it and go back over and kind of restart again if necessary.
What was the most rewarding thing for you in your life once you were able to find that right balance of using social media and not going to that extent that you were before?
Having true gratitude. One thing that social media had done for me is I was constantly comparing my life to others, or just worried about what other people were doing and needing that validation from others. One of the biggest things now is I can live my life in a way that has true gratitude, where I can just be thankful for what I have and appreciative. I'm also less distracted. Like we mentioned earlier, I'm able to have a meal at a restaurant without taking a picture of it and overly worrying about it, or over worrying about how many likes I'm going to get on this meal or who needs to see this. I found for me, I have a greater appreciation for real life and just taking each day and each moment. And that's been the greatest benefit. The other benefit for me too in writing this book is having other people reach out to me and say that they've starting to feel those same feelings. That felt really good as well.
Well, Darius, with that, for helping other people, what you're doing with this book, how can people find it? What's the best place for them to go to pick up a copy of this?
If you're in Vancouver, Washington, go down to White Oaks Bookstore. Outside of Washington, I would encourage people to go on Amazon. It's on Amazon, and it is The 8 Steps of Freedom to Social Media Addiction. I also encourage viewers to check out the reviews and see for yourself and really take the challenge on. And I am excited to see how many people that we can help kind of break this pattern of being addicted to social media.
Well, Darius, thank you very much for joining us here today to talk about this and sharing your work. I think it's something that probably a lot of us could really use as far as, I'm speaking from a personal standpoint. Yeah, I need to be not on there as much. So this is important to me, and I'm sure for other people as well. So thank you for joining us today and sharing your insights into this and ways that we can all try to find that better balance.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time today.
You bet. And for everybody watching here too, again, this is Fox 12 Now. So if this is your first time watching, we appreciate you joining us. We have lots of segments for you to check out. We cover a wide range of topics here on this show and breaking news, which we had earlier today. So you can go back and take a look at that. We'll be here between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. every weekday. So that's outside of our other newscasts. This is the place to go to for that breaking news and also the segments that we get to have every day. So I thank you for joining us. Thanks for being a part of it. I'll talk to you soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.